Hello and welcome to this Friday's episode of Sports Corner. I'm Cole Young, and a whole lot has gone on across the sports world the past week, so I won't waste any more time and I will get right to it. Both the NBA and NHL playoffs are still raging on, but the bracket is slowly getting smaller and smaller. I talked about the reigning champion Denver Nuggets last week and how quickly they fell to a 2-0 deficit to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The series headed back to Denver for games 2 and 3, and the Nuggets seemed to have figured it out. They won 2 straight games at home, the first by 27 points and the second by a closer margin of 8. The now 3-time NBA MVP, Nikola Jokic, had 24 points in Game 3, followed by 35 in Game 4, and the Nuggets are right back to being championship contenders. A crucial Game 5 was Tuesday night, and the Nuggets have now won 3 straight games. Jokic had his first 40-point game of these playoffs, along with 13 assists and 0 turnovers. This series has taken a dramatic turn, and the Timberwolves went from being up by 2 games to facing elimination heading into the series-defining Game 6 last night. The Timberwolves can breathe a short sigh of relief as they picked up a much-needed win, tying the series at 3-3 and forcing a Game 7 tomorrow in Denver. The other series in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder and Dallas Mavericks, were also tied at 2-2 heading into Game 5 on Wednesday. This series has been back and forth, with the two teams swapping wins every game. Luka Doncic has been dominant for Dallas, averaging 22 points, 10.8 rebounds, and 7.8 assists per game this series. For OKC, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been leading the charge, averaging 31.8 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 7 assists for the Thunder. In Game 5, Doncic posted a triple-double with 31 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds, which led the Mavericks to a 104-92 win. Not only did the Mavericks win, they led the game for the final 43 minutes and 59 seconds. For reference, NBA games are only 48 minutes long, so Dallas only trailed for the first 4 minutes and 1 second of the first quarter before they took and held the lead. The series-defining Game 6 will be tomorrow at 5 p.m. Moving over to the East, the top-seeded Boston Celtics have been in a surprisingly close contest with the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Celtics easily handled the Cavs in Game 1, followed by the Cavs dropping a 24-point victory on Boston. Boston then got their revenge, winning the next 2 games and taking a 3-1 series lead heading into Game 5. That game was on Wednesday night, and Jason Tatum had 25 points and 10 rebounds, and Boston beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 113-96 to advance to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 3rd straight season. They move on to face the winner of the Indiana and New York series. The Knicks and Pacers have been absolutely battling it out in the East to see who will move on to face Boston. An average of 229 points is being scored in every game this series, with at least one team scoring over 110 points in every game. Safe to say there has been no shortage of points being scored, and Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton have been leading the charge for New York and Indiana respectively. Game 5 was Tuesday night, and yet again, a team scored a boatload of points. Brunson dropped another 40-point game, scoring 44 and leading the Knicks to a 121-91 victory over Indiana. They are now just 1 game away from the conference finals, but the Pacers are back at home for Game 6, which will be tonight. The playoffs are quickly coming to a close, and the conference finals will start next week. Sticking with basketball, the WNBA season tipped off this week. All 12 teams started their seasons on Tuesday and Wednesday, and Caitlin Clark made her debut with the Indiana Fever on Tuesday night. Clark finished with 20 points, 3 assists, and 2 steals in her WNBA debut. But she struggled much of the night, committing 10 turnovers and shooting 5 for 15 from the field and 4 for 11 on 3-pointers, as Indiana lost 92-71 to the Connecticut Sun. It was a slow start for the all-time leading NCAA scorer, but she found a rhythm in the second half. It's a long season, and I'm sure she will put on several incredible performances throughout the year. On the ice, the playoffs are also moving towards the conference championships. The New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes have had 2 of their 5 games head to overtime, and 2 more have been close, last-second 1-point wins. New York jumped out to a 3-0 lead, and facing elimination, Carolina went on to win 2 straight games, including a statement 4-1 win on Monday, forcing a Game 6. Game 6 was last night, and the Rangers narrowly avoided a massive upset, closing out the series and punching their ticket into the conference finals. Except for an embarrassing 5-1 loss in Game 1, the Florida Panthers have dominated the Boston Bruins in this series, winning 3 straight games following that first loss. The Panthers entered Tuesday Game 5 with a 3-1 lead, and the Bruins were facing elimination. Jeremy Swayman made 28 saves, Charlie McAvoy tallied the go-ahead score, and the Boston Bruins fought off elimination by beating the Florida Panthers 2-1 in Game 5 of their playoff series on Tuesday night. Game 6 will be tonight, so we will see if Boston can hold off the Panthers for one more game and force a Game 7. Over in the West, the Dallas Stars and Colorado Avalanche series started off neck and neck, and it looked like two of the league's top teams would be in close games throughout. Colorado got a win in Game 1 in overtime, followed by a Stars 5-3 shootout win in Game 2. But Dallas then won 4-1 and 5-1 in their next two games, quickly making the series 3-1 and bringing the Avs on the brink of elimination. In Game 5 on Wednesday, Avalanche defenseman Cale Makar scored 2 goals, and they beat the top-seeded Dallas 5-3. The Avs stayed alive, snapping their 3-game losing streak and extending the second-round Western Conference Series. Game 6 will be tonight at 7 p.m. Lastly, for the NHL, the only 2 Canadian teams remaining have been fighting for their spot in the next round. The first 3 matchups of the Vancouver Canucks and Edmonton Oilers have all been decided by 1 goal. Vancouver won Game 1, followed by Edmonton winning Game 2, then the Canucks picking up a win in Game 3. Evan Bouchard scored the game-winning goal with 38.1 seconds remaining, and the Edmonton Oilers beat the Vancouver Canucks 3-2 in Game 4 of their second-round playoff series. The victory evened the best-of-7 series at 2-2, with Game 5 set for Thursday night in Vancouver. Last night, the Canucks secured another win, bringing them within 1 win of advancing to the conference finals. It's been a few weeks since I've said anything about the NFL, and it hasn't been easy for me. But a few headlines dropped this week, all surrounding contracts. On Monday, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers agreed to a 4-year deal with safety Antoine Winfield Jr. that's worth $84.1 million. The agreement makes Winfield the highest paid defensive back in NFL history based on average annual salary. Winfield's coming off an all-pro season where he tied for the league lead with 6 forced fumbles while also recording 6 sacks, 3 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries, and 12 passes deflected on top of his 122 total tackles. Remember, the Bucs also extended the contracts of Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, so they're making a solid effort to keep all their stars in-house. Then, the Detroit Lions gave quarterback Jared Goff an extension worth $212 million over 4 years that includes $170 million guaranteed. It makes Goff the highest paid player in Lions history. His $53 million average annual salary makes him the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL, behind only Joe Burrow, who is making $55 million annually. The Lions were just 1 game away from a Super Bowl appearance last season, and after securing their star quarterback and receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown earlier this offseason, they're looking to be right back in the late rounds of the playoffs again this upcoming season. The English Premier League is coming to a close this week, and it's going to come down to the wire. Heading into Tuesday, Arsenal sat atop the table with a 1-point lead over second-place Manchester City. Man City and Tottenham Hotspur faced off in their match, and a Tottenham win would have brought Arsenal just 1 step closer to securing their Premier League title. However, Man City extended their winning streak to 8 straight matches and defeated Tottenham 2-0 and now sit in first place. A win over West Ham on Sunday will seal their 4th consecutive Premier League title, which would be the first time a club has won 4 straight in history. However, if Man City loses to West Ham and Arsenal pulls off a win in their final match with Everton, Arsenal can still be the top team in the Premier League. This can also happen if Man City draws with West Ham and Arsenal wins and outscores Man City. I know, pretty confusing, but to summarize, here's the schedule for Sunday. It will be the final day of Premier League matches, and 2 matches will determine the league champ, so be sure to tune in at 8 a.m. on Sunday morning and see who will come out on top. With all of that said, enjoy the weekend jam-packed with all kinds of different sports. Be sure to come right back next weekend for all the news and updates. I'm Cole Young, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.